Like the day Neymar's career. The day Neymar's career silently ended. Opening. February 13th, 2023. Al Hilal versus Esteglal FC. A routine Asian Champions League match in Riyadh. The crowd buzzes with anticipation as Neymar Jr., once football's golden boy, once the world's most expensive player, steps onto the pitch wearing the unfamiliar blue of Al Hilal. What nobody knew, not the fans, not the commentators, not even Neymar himself, was that this ordinary Tuesday evening would mark the beginning of the end. Not with a bang, not with a dramatic final game or a tearful retirement speech, but with something far more haunting. Silence. The moment. 62 minutes into the match, Neymar drives forward down the left flank, that familiar burst of acceleration that once terrorized defenders from Barcelona to Paris. He plants his left foot to cut inside, and then it happens. No contact, no opposing player nearby, just his knee buckling beneath him, betraying him in the cruelest way an athlete's body can betray them. He crumples to the ground, clutching his leg, and in that moment, something breaks that goes far beyond ligaments and cartilage. The diagnosis comes swiftly: torn ACL and meniscus, 12 months minimum. At 31 years old, for a player whose entire game was built on explosive movements, sudden changes of direction, and that electric unpredictability, 12 months might as well be forever. The context nobody talks about. But here's what makes this injury different from all the others. Here's why this moment represents the silent ending, rather than just another setback in a career already riddled with them. Neymar had already left. Not physically. His body was in Saudi Arabia, earning a reported $300 million contract over 2.5 years. But mentally, emotionally, spiritually, he'd left the sport's highest stage long before that knee gave out. When he departed Paris Saint-Germain for Al Hilal in August 2023, the football world barely flinched. There was no outcry, no desperate attempts from Europe's elite to keep him. Manchester City didn't come calling. Real Madrid, who'd chased him for years, stayed silent. Barcelona, his spiritual home, couldn't even consider it financially feasible. The harsh truth? Nobody seemed to care that much anymore. The weight of potential. To understand why this injury marked a silent ending, you have to understand what Neymar was supposed to be. In 2013, when Barcelona signed him from Santos, he wasn't just another talented Brazilian. He was the heir apparent, the successor to Messi and Ronaldo's throne, the player who would define the next generation of football. And for brief, glorious moments, he was exactly that. The remontada against PSG in 2017, where he orchestrated the most improbable comeback in Champions League history. His sublime performances in Brazil's yellow jersey. That season at Barcelona, where he, Messi, and Suarez formed the most devastating attacking trio the sport had ever seen, scoring 122 goals between them. But potential is a prison when it remains unfulfilled. And Neymar spent his entire career trapped between what he was and what he should have been. The Paris years, a golden cage. When PSG paid €222 million for him in 2017, shattering every transfer record in existence, it was meant to be his liberation, his chance to step out of Messi's shadow and claim his own legacy. Instead, it became a cautionary tale about choosing money and ego over football immortality. 6 years in Paris. 6 years of domestic dominance that nobody outside France remembers. 6 years of Champions League failures that everyone does. The injuries piled up, metatarsal breaks, ankle sprains, hamstring tears, each one conveniently timed to occur around carnival season in Brazil, feeding whispers about his commitment, his professionalism, his priorities. The numbers tell a damning story. Neymar missed 123 PSG matches through injury. That's 3 full seasons of football, lost to treatment tables and rehabilitation centers while his career's crucial years slipped away. The shift nobody noticed. But the truly silent part of Neymar's ending wasn't the move to Saudi Arabia, or even this catastrophic injury. It was how gradually, imperceptibly, The world stopped expecting greatness from him and started expecting excuses. When was the last time you heard someone genuinely argue that Neymar deserved to win the Ballon d'Or? When was the last time he was even in the conversation? Somewhere between Paris and Riyadh, between 2018 and 2023, Neymar transformed from football's brightest star to a cautionary tale, a meme, a symbol of wasted talent. The debates shifted from, is he better than Messi, to, was he ever really that good? Social media remembered his theatrical dives more than his magical dribbles. His injuries became punchlines. His lifestyle choices overshadowed his performances. The Saudi epilogue. So, when that knee buckled in Riyadh, it wasn't just an ACL that tore, it was the last thread connecting Neymar to relevance at football's highest level. He'd played just 5 matches for Al Hilal, 5 matches before a year-long absence. By the time he returned, he'd be 32, recovering from major knee surgery, playing in a league that, despite its oil billions and superstar signings, still exists outside the sport's competitive core. There will be no fairy tale ending. No triumphant World Cup run in 2026. Brazil has moved on, building around Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo, and other inheritors of that famous yellow jersey. No emotional return to Barcelona. No Champions League swan song. The silent truth. This is how most great careers end, really. Not with retirement announcements or farewell tours, but with the slow realization that the phone has stopped ringing, that the spotlight has moved on, that somewhere along the way, without anyone quite noticing when, it was already over. Neymar's career didn't end on February 13th, 2023. It had been ending for years, with every injury, every transfer rumor, every prioritization of brand over ball, every Champions League disappointment, every choice that favored comfort over competition. The injury was just the moment the silence became impossible to ignore. Closing. Today, Neymar continues his rehabilitation, posting training videos on Instagram, promising his return. And he will return, to Saudi Arabia, to a league where he can still be a big fish in a smaller pond, to a career epilogue that pays extraordinarily well, but matters extraordinarily little to football's grand narrative. The tragedy isn't that Neymar's career ended, it's that it ended so quietly, so anticlimactically, that most of the football world had already moved on before they realized he was gone. That's the cruelest ending of all, not being missed.